welcome to Storycomic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. This is episode 115. We are welcoming back to the show writer, artist Caleb Palmquist, who he runs the famed Enkidu Studio, home of Modern Mythology, Small Favor, and Unicorn Vampire Hunter. He is here to talk about his latest Kickstarter for his comic book, Unicorn Vampire Hunter, issues 1 through 3. An all-ages fantasy adventure about a unicorn who hunts vampires. Caleb, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
So now this is your third showing. So now you have officially become friend of the show. So I just wanted to clear that up. So you're one of the few that have reached that level. So I'll have to think of a new title for after four appearances, but the 3 appearances, you've become friend of the show. So yes, welcome back. Yeah, it's exciting. And I just, looking at your Kickstarter, pulling it up real quick, you are now, you've reached your goal. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you.
And so let me ask you this. Is this the quickest it's gone so far, or is this on pace of your previous ones for
this
Unicorn?
One is slightly ahead of the last one we did for number 1 and 2. It's they both funded on the 4th day, which is really exciting. And this one's doing just a little bit better than that one did. So that's feeling good about it.
So let me ask you, do you see what's the returning? Is there a way you can tell offhand, like how many people are returning readers and how many are new readers?
So Kickstarter doesn't give me any direct metric in terms of like how many people backed before and returned, but of course I recognize names, and I see a lot of people who are backing just for number 3, which tells me that unless they're very confused, they're returning. And so there's a lot of people are coming back, which is very exciting. I think for the first few days, it was like probably 95% people coming back, which is really exciting. That, of course, makes me feel very good about the work that I'm doing and the stories that I'm creating.
Right. I mean, because you still have your returning artists there. You have Daryl coming back as your artist, and remember you said so. It was about this time last year you were pushing that you launched issue number 1. That was like October 20th, wasn't it, or 21st?
Yeah. Yep. It was right at the end of October, so it's been just under a year since we launched number 1.
Right. And so then number 2 came out about 6 months later. So are you trying to do these issues like every 6 months or so now?
Yeah, that's more or less the goal. We might be doing a combined issue 4 and 5 Kickstarter next year.
Really?
To wrap up the first arc. Kind of depends on how the schedule goes, but I think that's the plan. I think that it's clear that people are excited about the story, and we want to get it to them as fast as possible.
Right.
So we might be doing that if it feels like the support would be there. On Kickstarter, always trying new and different things. And, one of the things is, like, of course, people are excited for the next issue. And with Kickstarter, there's only so fast I can only run so many Kickstarters, right? Like even if I was working with the fastest artists in the world, there's only so often I can run a Kickstarter. And so just trying to see how we can do it in a way that gets the books to people faster without compromising quality.
Right. I mean, and I remember you're saying in the first year when we were talking about issue number 1, like you are, I mean, like you said, like Dave and Daryl, that's your team. These are the ones that are going to be working on that. So, and plus, as you said, like that's the style that Daryl and Dave bring to the story. As you said, that's your team, or is the 3 of you on that. And you can, I mean, I remember you saying like your job is kind of easier as the writer of it, and also kind of that where it's the artist. What Daryl has to bring is that's the is that, as you said, that's the bottleneck of production, just because, like you say, you don't want to sacrifice quality with the artwork.
Yeah, I mean, I would hesitate to use the term bottleneck just because it sounds like I'm like waiting on him. Daryl is actually like not only incredibly talented, but
Right.
he's also pretty damn fast.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And he's a bit of a workhorse. In fact, it's kind of funny. We have a little bit of a cycle where um, he works really fast. He works so fast that he kind of exhausts himself. And then he's like, okay, I need about a month where I can like not look at a pencil and not draw because I did too much. But yeah, I mean, you know, it really is like a process of I've written these scripts and then, you know, I've got to hand it off
Right.
to Daryl and then to Dave to finish it up. But what I found with Daryl is that it continues to be a collaborative process. Of course, he's
Right.
doing the work, but the story changes as we go through the art, and you know, it really does become a collaborative thing where we're going back and forth with different decisions, and so a lot of what you end up seeing in the final result in terms of story has a lot of input from both Daryl and Dave, the letterer. Even at the lettering stage, where you know tweaks are being made, and those two guys are a fundamental part of the storytelling process, not just because they're creating the art, but also because they are providing input on the story. And I think it's all the better for it.
Right. Now, do you have? Because I remember we're talking about this last year about just as you design the world, you have. I was asking you about magic systems and if you had like like schools of, and you were kind of referencing a bit about like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, where there's not very specific rules set up. But now my follow-up question for you a year later on this, issue 3, you have on the Kickstarter, you have a D&D campaign for it. Have you been able to kind of hone in on just the world building aspect of how magic works now?
Yeah, certainly on my end there are rules to the magic. There are specific rules to how things work. How does the unicorn work? How does like evil magic and good magic work, and how do vampires work in Swirl and all that kind of stuff. Although in the story, I feel like a lot of that is not really necessary to explain. But you are right. There's a D&D campaign guide on this Kickstarter, and that has very specific rules. But a lot of those rules are basically just me adapting the world to the rule set of D&D.
Right.
And my partner Lorelai was a huge help with that. She's like a big D&D aficionado, and so I had her check over everything and create some of the stat blocks and stuff like that, because she knows what she's doing a lot more than I do. But so it's interesting because I wouldn't necessarily say that the rules in this guide are the magic rules in the story.
Okay.
Like they are like my best attempt at adapting the rules of the world to the rule set of D&D. So I think what you'll find in that campaign guide is that there's some more insight into what the characters can do that you might not see in the book. I don't think it contradicts anything in the book. But yeah, it's really, if these characters were D&D characters, what would that look like? What would their abilities be?
Right.
Yeah.
And do you have? So my other so in your Kickstarter for issue number 2, you had on there some like miniatures on there. You also had some background prints, and you have other new things for this as that with add-ons. You have the the puppy stickers is new. You don't have the other. You have the other stickers.
So the other stickers are everything that I've done for all the previous campaigns is available as add-ons on this one. The only thing that's not available is that miniature. Unfortunately, it's kind of like a tragic saga with the miniature. We had a friend of mine resin 3D printed like 45 miniatures, carefully packaged them up, sent them through USPS, and USPS absolutely mangled them.
Oh, no.
And then we put in for a insurance claim, and they took several months and eventually denied the claim. And so basically what I ended up doing was refunding everyone who had pledged for a miniature to be sent to them, and then I sent everyone on the campaign the like digital file. If they had a 3D printer at home, they could do it themselves. It's like, unfortunately, what I realized is that with something like that, I was really going to have to outsource to a like professional company for doing it. And so while I might return to something like that at some point in the future, for now, I'm trying to stick to things that more in my wheelhouse and things that can be flat packed, things that the USPS can't really destroy.
Right.
Yeah.
So and do you see yourself doing that for each issue coming up? Is then taking everything you had in there and putting it in on the add-on menu?
Yeah. As long as I still have the stuff, I printed enough of the stickers and the trading cards and the prints and stuff that I think that they'll last for a while. When I get to the point where they start to sell out and run out, I mean, at that point I'll have to make a decision about whether it's worth it to reprint the old stuff, or if that just becomes like an exclusive that like the people who got it, they got it.
Right.
And then, we kind of move on to the new stuff. But I mean, like, that the coming up with the little add-ons, I think, is just a ton of fun. The new stuff, I mean, the stickers have been a huge hit, it's been super fun. Actually, I've been going to a few cons. They've just started to open up conventions in Washington State and Oregon, and gone to a few. And I take all these stickers and I put them out on the table, and people get really excited about them, and it's interesting to see which ones are popular, which ones are more popular than the others. The unicorn with the bloody horn is like a huge winner. People always want that one. I did a sticker for my Modern Mythology campaign that was about that had Zeus on it, that is popular. But yeah, so those things are just fun, and I'd like to answer your question. I guess I'm sort of rambling, but I'd like to continue offering the little bonuses that I offered on previous Kickstarters as long as I can, as long as I have them, just because I don't want anything to feel like that, if you weren't here for every campaign, then you just are crap out of luck and you don't get to have the fun stuff. Like, if people want that stuff, I want them to feel like they can have it. Even if a year from 2 years from now, where I'm doing issue 8 or whatever, and like someone wants to jump on if they want the stickers that I did in issue 1, or like the trading cards or whatever. Like, I don't want them to feel like they just missed the boat and they're not able to get it.
Right. And have you seen, so like once they're gone though? If, like, for instance, you ordered a finite amount of like the issue 1 stickers, but you'll have those.
It kind of depends. Like I said, I'm gonna have to like figure it out. I have enough that I don't see myself running out within the next couple of campaigns. The stickers, I think, will kind of be evergreen because they're the most popular thing that I do by far. As far as like the bonus, the stretch goal prints that I do, and things like that, I'm not sure. It kind of depends. Like, I think if I got to the point where I ran out and people are like, we want these, I would reprint them.
Okay.
It's like, is the interest there? Am I just like killing trees to print more prints. I don't know.
And is there anything on here that you've noticed that was what you're kind of surprised about, other than like you mentioned the stickers earlier? That do you feel that push to have to kind of come up with a new sticker theme for every issue now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the stickers are the most popular, and I think it is getting to be like it's getting harder and harder to come up with the sticker ideas that like I feel like are going to be like compelling and fun, because I don't want to do a sticker that's just like, you know, the different characters or whatever that like nobody's going to understand. I think this is the first one I've done with no text, but I think it's just so cute that it kind of stands on its own.
Right.
And it is getting harder and harder to come up with stickers. So like it's possible I might start doing something else instead of stickers at some point if I run out of ideas. I have I've always been surprised at how excited people are about the prints that I do. I always do a stretch goal print, like a set of stretch goal prints. And people always get super excited about them, which is great. I think the art is really fun. But you know, and then the trading cards is interesting. I really like the trading cards. I personally like them. I mean, I basically did those because I wanted to have them. But people seem to enjoy them, and I'm hoping that it'll kind of be like a satisfying thing that, you know, I do a couple more trading cards with each campaign, and then people end up having, you know, this like collection of cards, and hopefully that's kind of a fun thing.
Right. And I can't. Did you say that like there's like stats on the back of them as well?
There's no stats on the back of them. They're just character cards.
It's just like a narrative, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're just narrative cards, art cards. But the ones I did trading cards for my Modern Mythology book, which had not stats, but sort of like a little bit of information about like what culture of the myth that they were from. Yeah, the thing that has stats is the RPG guide, which kind of gets into the bones of different characters. And also the fun thing about the RPG guide that I'm super excited about, like I said, the actual stats are really based on like D&D, like making it work within D&D, but there's the flavor text and there's information about the settings and the characters, and there's extra information and Easter eggs in that RPG book that will come into play in future issues that I have not revealed in the book yet. So like eagle-eyed readers are going to spot stuff that's coming up, because I wanted to make that starter guide sort of evergreen, so that even after, you know, all the first 5 issues are done, it still is like relevant and like makes sense. So yeah, there are definitely Easter eggs in there.
We had to be deliberate with that. Like, are there some things that you couldn't put in the starter because that were like, I don't want to, and I'm not sure if people should know about this yet or anything like that.
I mean, there were definitely things that I considered putting in that would have been like spoilers for plot points from like issue 6 and beyond, and so I avoided the stuff that would like really reveal where the plot was going after the first arc. But in terms of the rest of it, the Unicorn Vampire Hunter isn't really a story about mysteries. I think I have done this thing. I've sort of embraced a writing philosophy where if I set up a mystery, I reveal the answer to the mystery like immediately. Like you find out everything, like almost everything is important to know about the unicorn at the end of the first issue, and then there's like a little mystery that's set up in the first issue that's answered in the second issue,
right?
And then like, and so to me, it's for this story is more about the characters and the journey and less about like withholding information and having a big mystery,
right? I mean, so like you said, like, you know, the meta plot of your story arc, or your 5-issue story arc, is going to it's going to have a satisfactory ending, or is you going to have to leave like at least a breadcrumb for the next story arc?
What I will say, and this is looking ahead, I mean, the first 5 issues will be wrapped up before the end of next year, but I will say that the story is the plot will be wrapped up, but there will be a large breadcrumb. I mean, you know, like there will be like a definite hook into the next arc. And I had toyed with that. Like I had 2 versions of the script for issue 5. One where I didn't have that breadcrumb and it was just the end of the story.
Right.
But at this point, based on the reception that I've gotten and, you know, how people are enjoying the story and like seeming to want to come back again, I'm pretty confident that I can carry it through to another arc.
Right.
So.
And so do you see your, and so, you know, with that said, is this like how much you're going to take the D&D thing? Are you going to have like some more campaign? If you get the feedback is positive, are you looking at maybe doing more of maybe doing some more supplements for that D&D side of things?
Yeah, so this is, I guess, sort of a Storycomic exclusive.
Oh, another one. Okay, good. All right.
But if it goes well, and a lot of people are backing it, which is exciting that people like it. Hopefully, I mean, that people are excited about the idea of it. Hopefully, it's good and people actually enjoy it. And if that turns out to be true, and I get some positive feedback, my intention is to create a whole source book, like a not just like a 20-page thing, but like a full, you know, D&D supplement source book that would be its own thing.
Oh, wow.
That would really cover not just this one. This supplement has 2 settings. It's got really the magical marsh and the dark forest. That's it. And it's the adventure in there takes place within that, and the characters and everything are just really exclusive to that. Whereas I could definitely have a book that fills out the entire world and has different plot starts and, you know, a bunch of different characters and everything. And I would love to do that. And I think that there is Kickstarter has a lot of D&D supplements that go up on there, and I've even spoken with you know, people who do those books and you know, publishers who publish those kinds of things and about ideas for it. And so yeah, I definitely want to do more. I think I probably won't do more little 20-page things. I think the jump will be from this to a whole book.
So would you be able, so because it's kind of a different genre, if you're making like a game manual, would that be something that you would kind of like hire out for someone to put together, and then you'd be able to concentrate on writing more of the stories?
That's a good question. So to be honest, like I said, my partner Lorelai did the honestly the lion's share of like creating the stat blocks and stuff. Right. And so it's something that I probably would get help with, just because while I do play D&D, it's not necessary. I'm not an expert. When I run a D&D game, a lot of times if there's like a rule that comes up where it's like, oh, you know, how would you do this action, or what kind of role would this enemy do? I don't look it up. I just kind of make it up, you know, on the spot, because I'm like, you know, I want to keep the game going, and I'm not that much of a rules lawyer, but I would definitely want the supplement that I write to be fully fleshed out and like make sense in terms of rules. So yeah, I think I would hire that out and get someone to help me out with that, so that I can focus on, you know, just the narrative elements of it and continuing the story itself. Yeah.
Right. And so talk to us a bit about also like issue number 3. What is your, you know, without giving away, it's like, you know, it's your 32 pager. What's kind of the, what direction is the story heading for our listeners and viewers to kind of know about?
So let's see, what can I say about it? What I can say is this issue focuses in on the evil plot that's happening, because In issue 1, we were introduced to the 3 main characters and kind of like what all their motivations were, and we just got a little bit of the main villain, the character that would become the main villain. And then in issue 2, there was some more character development and some more action that was happening. And issue 3 really puts a spotlight on the villain and fleshes out the villain's character motivations. The villain is a vampire named Enrique. This is like the very most minor of spoilers, but it is a spoiler. In issue 1, the unicorn kills Enrique's brother, Federico, which sets Enrique on a path toward revenge. And Enrique is a genius. He's like an inventor, and he's very cunning. And he finds some new allies, and he starts to enact a plot, because so far he's kind of been made a fool of by the unicorn, and now it's his turn to kind of turn things around and start getting after the unicorn and his friends. And he is good at what he does, and hopefully his character has some depth to it. Hopefully people will think that, and they'll understand his motivations and what he's doing. So this is a very villain-centric issue, and it is all about the villain enacting his plan and sort of what's going to happen, and setting up putting the pieces in place for what will be the sort of finale of the arc.
And so what would be some of the with that, what would be some of the surprises that you think your readers are going to kind of discover?
That's a good question. I think that everyone who reads this is going to have guesses about what's happening and what's going to happen in issue 4. And I think that I don't think that it's like a huge mystery. I think that there's every chance that people reading it will guess correctly, but I have had people who have read the issue, some of my beta readers, some of them guessed correctly, and some of them are way off base in terms of what was happening. And so I think that I think people are going to be I think they're gonna like the villains. I'm really, so the thing is, as I'm writing the story, one of my favorite things is in stories is villains that like we can kind of care about and like we can get excited by. I mean, it's it would surprise no one to hear that like Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my favorite characters of all time. So, playing with villains and, what their motivations are, and like no one's a villain in their own mind, right? Like everyone thinks they're like watching out for themselves and doing the right thing, or at least like they're not bad. Right? I mean, like Zuko thought he was trying to like secure a place for himself in the Fire Nation and like get his father's approval, right? And like ultimately that was misguided. But hopefully, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited to get feedback from people and see if that's starting to come into play the way I hope that it is. I always have big ideas about characters, and like, whether or not I'm accomplishing those, I'm never sure, but anyway. So characters, yep, you're going to get to see the villains, and I hopefully readers will be excited about that, and hopefully they will have guesses. If you come away from it and you come back to me and you talk to me about it and you tell me what you think is going to happen, then I will know that I succeeded at getting you to think about, like, getting your wheels spinning, like what's going on here. which is what I want.
But like as you said, as you pointed out, Caleb, it is very like character driven, and it's really interesting to see, like the humanizing of, like you said, the villains, the unicorn, and the other, people are around it. There's a level of almost normalcy and just the emotions that everybody has. Is that what some of your, as I think you mentioned too, is like Dave was helping you kind of, if I remember correctly, he kind of proofreads it as well.
Yeah, I mean, he'll say that, he credits him, like he does all the letters, so he gets to credit himself however he wants, and he credits himself with being an editor in the book. And he will, he he's very funny. He never reads the script until he's going to letter it, but he does make changes, and almost always those changes benefit the story. Sometimes if there's a moment in the art or in the pacing where it like feels like an additional dialogue might help, he'll like throw that in there. And sometimes if there's something I wrote that's actually just gonna like slow the story down or make it awkward, he just deletes it, and then he just kind of sends me the pages and sees if I notice, and usually I do, but usually I'm okay with it anyway. So yeah, he's definitely like doing those like little last minute tweaks.
Did he give you any tips that like for that when you sat down and when he was looking at the script? Um, how much back and forth do you have with Daryl and Dave as well as trying to find the voices for the characters? And has there been any feedback that they've given you? Is like, I'm not sure, Jezebel would say it like this, or I'm not sure if, other characters would talk like this.
Definitely a lot more from Daryl in terms of, because he, as he's drawing, and he's laying out the scenes, Daryl knows the characters better than anyone, like probably even better than me. Um, and so he will talk to me about, if something doesn't feel in character. Um, Dave will also do that, but his way of doing that is to just change the dialogue on the page, and then show me. But he's great at what he does. So with both of them, honestly, it's such a dream team because they seem to both be able to basically just like read my mind,
Right.
in terms of what needs to happen, and then usually when they suggest changes or just make changes, it's makes it better, and it like more completely matches what I was going for in the first place. So and after you work with a team for a while, you really get into a rhythm of how you work together, and now that we've been doing 3 issues and we're about to start the 4th issue, it's like there's just a lot that goes unsaid, and a lot that's just shorthand or second nature, between us, where we're all invested in the story, and we all done it before, and we all know the characters, and so it's like less of a discussion and more of just kind of a fluid collaboration.
Right. And do you have, and so I'm kind of curious too, is like how much, because you got people here, that are there, that you have this good team. How much of the ideas for like your add-ons and some of your extras do they kind of contribute to? I mean, you said the trading cards was yours. You like the trading cards. How much of the other ideas have they been able to contribute for you?
That's interesting. Most of that is me coming up with the ideas. I think that the D&D thing was, I think, like I've always wanted to create a D&D supplement. I've always wanted to make it just like a D&D book. It spun out of a few different conversations that I had with some people that I play D&D with, like my partner Lorelai, a few friends that I play D&D with, and then also Mike Teener, who writes Black Jackets and Midnight Highway. I had some conversations with him about it before doing it. The stickers are, I have to credit Jonathan Fisher, who draws all the stickers, because he really is like, we spitball back and forth about ideas for stickers, and he has a pin company with his partner called Bone Daddy Pins. They're like enamel pins that have like fun designs, and so I think he has like a real eye for like what people are going to get excited about in terms of like a pin or a sticker, and what people are going to think is fun. And so you know, the unicorn, all the unicorn stickers were in total collaboration with him. So yeah, I mean, you know, the add-on stuff, I'm kind of just throwing stuff at a wall whenever I come up with something new, like, oh, I'm going to do a D&D book, or I'm going to do minis, or I'm going to do a sticker or whatever. It's kind of like I'm just throwing stuff at the wall, and if it doesn't work, it's like a relatively small investment, and then I just do something different the next time if it doesn't work. Or like in the case of the stickers, or now the D&D book seems to be really popular, so it's like, if something works, I'm going to do more of it, and if it doesn't work, you know, I'll just do something different next time.
Right. Yeah. Is there anything that you're kind of that's worked that you've been you're like you said, you're kind of surprised about, like, other than the stickers? You said the stickers was a big surprise for you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that the D&D book seems to be really popular, and I wasn't, I don't know, I didn't have huge expectations. I was hopeful that it would be something people would be really into, but it's definitely exciting that people are super into it. Other than that, no. I mean, you know, lots of people do trading cards and stickers and prints on Kickstarter, and so that, you know, it's just kind of like, my ideas are all based on what can I flat pack, like what's easy to produce and what's adding value to people without being something that like is really expensive to make or really expensive to ship.
Right. What were some of the things that you kind of learned about through this Kickstarter that you've kind of you kind of from your previous Kickstarters that you've implemented for this new Kickstarter? Because so last year when we talked, you already had 7 under your belt, and now you have, like, you're down over 10 Kickstarters you've done so far, correct?
I think this is my next one. I don't remember exactly. I think it's either 9 or 10, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've learned a lot. Like I'm doing a lot of copy and pasting now when it comes to the like Kickstarter page. It's like swapping out information because it feels like I've kind of tapped into things that work. I don't know. I'm like, I hesitate to speak with any kind of authority because I feel like a lot of it is luck. But I think if I've learned anything, it's to keep the presentation simple, make it really clear what people are getting. I'm always very upfront, very transparent about everything. I like to do preview pages that are like, I mean, on every Kickstarter, I just give away the first 5 or so pages of the story because, you know, I don't want to withhold things. Like, I want to give people the chance to read it and see if it's something they might like. So you know, yeah, like I said, I hesitate to claim that I have any kind of expertise, but you know, if I think if I've learned anything, it's just to like have a clean, simple presentation that's easy to understand, and it's easy for people to understand what they're going to get and what they can get.
Right. So this is also, so because I'm curious, when you are producing, you had Modern Mythology that was sent out over the summer. Talk to us a bit about how your process is, because I mean, you still teach, right? You still.
Yeah, I am a high school teacher, and So, I mean, I write in my free time, and I, manage these projects. If I couldn't do the amount of comics that I do and work if I was drawing them. I do, just like there wouldn't be enough time. Like,
Right.
so, fortunately for me, there are people like Daryl and Dave and all the other artists that I've worked with who are, kind of hustling and doing full-time art. So they have time to do something like that. But, it's like everything is a trade-off. I really like my job, and I'm able to uh, live in a certain way, and have at least have enough money to be able to devote money to like these kinds of projects. And the fact that people are excited about them and want to pay me for them means that that because I'm like a combination of the fact that I work full time and that I have Kickstarters where money is coming in for that is what makes this possible, right?
Right.
Because like if I wasn't making money on Kickstarter, I just wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, these things are expensive to make. Like I said, people like Daryl and Dave do this full time, and so I pay them, um, and so my process is that I write in the evenings and on weekends, and then I just do my damnedest to promote and to make things that I think are good, so that people want to keep coming back.
Right.
Because I did a lot of Kickstarters before Unicorn Vampire Hunter that were not that successful, that weren't making enough money for me to really like do the next thing, to where I was just like saving up money,
Right.
or sometimes going into debt to make projects because they were passion projects, but of course, money talks. So when people come back and they want to continue buying the thing and they're excited about the next issue and everything, and that means it's possible to make. This thing has become my main focus because people like it, and it just so happens that it's also my favorite thing, and that it's a deep passion project of mine that I've been wanting to do for a long time. So it's just like lucky for me that those things coincided. But yeah, I mean, my schedule, my process is that I write when I can, and I try to make these things work when I can, and I rely on other talented people to do a lot of the work for me, so that train rolling.
I mean, because I remember as you're telling us in a previous interview that you came up with the idea of Unicorn Vampire Hunter based off of the back in 2011, when it was based off of somebody told you that like a marsh isn't magical, so you had to write your short story about Jezebel and the unicorn to prove that person wrong.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious now with since you're seeing a lot of push for the D&D the D&D supplement, are you looking at maybe taking this IP into other genres as well? Like a collectible card game or things like that?
I mean, the D&D thing is kind of the next thing I wanna look into. After that, it kind of depends. It also kind of depends. Everything with this particular book. I have a publishing deal with Scout Comics, where at some point in the future, once we have enough issues collected together, they're going to start publishing it, and so everything kind of has to be cleared through them in terms of like if I was going to go do a board game or whatever. And so I'd like to do some of that stuff, but like you said, a lot of it is like, what do I have time for? What do I have expertise in? With D&D, certainly, I would get some outside help as far as what's feasible, what makes sense, and also like you have to think about the audience and like where people are going to follow you, because people who read comics might not be the same people who are going to be wanting to invest in like a card game or something like that.
Right.
And so of course I have all sorts of ideas. I can't stop from having all sorts of ideas like that, but I think I'm kind of being cautious about what areas I probe into, which is why I did the D&D supplement, to kind of test the waters, to see if that would be something people would be interested in.
Yeah, and as you said, you've gotten some full-on support on that too.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is amazing. I'm looking at you. Every tier you've got backers on, like every tier. So they're.
I mean, I'm part of that is that one thing I've learned is just to keep it simple. I mean, to a certain degree, there has to be a certain number of tiers, but I try to do, especially now that Kickstarter has add-on like functionality. I try to do the simplest number of tiers I can. And then, you know, people want to customize that and do different combinations of things, they totally can. But yeah.
And you see this, like, looking at your pledge, your physical catch-up bundle, you got 23 backers. That's 23 new readers.
That's true. That's true.
And that's a really good price right there, $27. That's an amazing price.
Yeah, it's interesting. Pricing stuff, I'm never sure how to price things, because I try to do it based on what people are doing on Kickstarter, what seems like you know, the price that seems acceptable to Kickstarter backers, and you know, and I try to make it worth it for the backers. But I seem to have found a good sweet spot for that, because you know, people are jumping on board and they want to be a part of it. And I'm always you know, there's a lot of debate. I mean, it comes to Kickstarter, like literally any topic, as far as like how things are presented, or how you're printing things, or how you're pricing things, or how you're shipping things. There will be people arguing online about how to do it, and like getting angry about it. And you know, I'm just, I think I found a formula that works, and I don't think I'm charging too much, and I don't think I'm charging too little. I think some people can sometimes feel bad about charging people money for what they've made, and so they charge way too little, and their profit margins are nothing, and then they can't afford to make the next thing. And so part of the thing about Kickstarter is, the whole thing is, can I make the next issue? I need to raise money so I can make the next issue, because what people are paying me for on this campaign is not for me to produce issue 3. That's paid for. They're paying for me to produce issue 4 and 5.
Yeah. And that takes a bit of, you know, as you say, like the initial investment still is going to come out of your pocket too. And this is, you know, as you say, it's a passion project. So yeah. So congratulations, Caleb, on getting on hitting that, your goal. I mean, that's exciting stuff. And you got 100 backers. So there's that so far. I mean, you got 100 backers for your standard physical copy. So, and you've doubled, and you got Project We Love. Didn't you get Project You Love as well?
Yeah, we got that on like the second day. I think we got Project We Love, which is exciting. That's always funny. I never count on that. I have definitely run projects where I haven't gotten it. But you know, it's always like, and I'm not, you know, Kickstarter, like, they don't really publish their process for these things, and they don't publish their like metrics for these things. And so it's like, how much does it help? I don't know, but it feels good to get it. So, you know, it's definitely fun that we got that, and we've gotten that so far in every unicorn campaign. So that's really exciting.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations. So where can people find you if they want to back a Unicorn Vampire Hunter or see more of your work?
Well, the easiest way is unicornvampirehunter.com. Super easy to remember. And then, you know, if you want to follow me online, you can go to you can find me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and stuff. But I really do everything on Kickstarter at this point. Following me on Kickstarter is like really the best way. And but but yeah, my website, enkidustudio.com, has information about all the different kinds of things that I've published, and I try to update it every once in a while. It's maybe been a little while since I updated it, but yeah, so that's where you can go to find out about it, and
Right.
check out the Kickstarter. Kickstarter is always the best place. It's the most exciting place.
Yeah.
I still don't have a web store because I am bad at the internet. But I eventually I'll get that up and leave it up.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot, Caleb. And I'll probably see you again, and see you again soon then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as long as you'll keep having me, I love being on your show. I got someone coming in to deliver me tea for a second. Sorry for the confusion.
Oat milk in it?
Well, it's fine. I'm good.
You're
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's that? What is it? It's like herbal tea? Are you drinking caffeine this late, or is it just like an herbal tea?
I'm drinking it. I'm tired today, man. I gotta. It's also I'm earlier than you are. It's 5 o'clock
right.
for me.
Oh, okay. Right.
So.
I'm drinking. I have a rooibos tea right here, like a lavender
nice.
rooibos tea. Yeah, it's like nice and
That's good. Yeah, I'm drinking a cream of Earl Grey tea.
Oh, is that a David's tea?
It is a David's tea.
I got a David's tea too. Look at that. Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I love the cream of Earl Grey.